Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, December 31st, the very last day and last trading day of 2018. I'm Jonathan van Clute for Stock Navigators. And as always, please make sure that you like this video, comment if you've got any input for us, and subscribe to the channel so that you'll be notified of future broadcasts when I am going to be going live. So for now, let's go ahead and jump into the markets and start taking a look at what might be offered. So starting with, as always, the S&P 500, the ES futures contract. So we had this big down move recently, and we've bounced hard. And it would be easy to maybe look at this as, oh, the market has turned. We're no longer in a down market. It's going to recover, and everything's going to be rosy again. But I think it's really important to keep in mind that what we have here is a pattern of lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and lower highs. So we are, no question, still in a downtrend. Don't be fooled by really, really strong up moves like this. We are in a high volatility environment. Now, high volatility does not just mean to the downside. I think it's easy for people to confuse volatility with down, because usually you get high volatility in a down market or on a down move. But if we're in a high volatility environment, that means the up moves are going to be extremely strong as well. So I think this is likely to continue. Right now, you can see here this most recent leg, we have retraced back to the 50% mark. Went slightly above it, actually. But we are right on that 50% mark right now, 50% retracement of this most recent down move. So could it go a little higher and reach the 61.8? Absolutely. It's entirely possible. But the likely outcome either way is that somewhere in the very near future, possibly today, but maybe not until it gets to the 61.8 or maybe even slightly beyond, it is likely to want to continue down for another down leg. So that's what we're going to be watching for. Watch out for any kind of weakness to the downside, which obviously you can see even better on the shorter term chart. Here's the same retracement plotted here. And again, we've come into the 50, between the 50 and the 61.8 zone. And right now are right between the levels of the box, the top and the bottom of the box. And if we see weakness to the downside, a break below the box or something like that on the 60-minute, that would be a very good indication that the down move may be getting ready to go and start to move. Now, we might also see break to the upside and see that last push up to maybe the 61.8 or, test the 21 EMA, something like that. Maybe if there's a lot of strength, maybe even test the top of the daily box. Something like that could happen as well. I mean, you can see we've had some potentially very large ranges here lately, and that would not be out of the question to reach something like that. In fact, I don't have my pen running. Sorry about that. I didn't even realize it wasn't there. Let's see here. Pen. There you go. Let's get my whoops. And get my favorite disappearing ink. There we go. And oops. All right. So this kind of range is feasible. Maybe we see something like that, and we do go up and test around the 61.8 and the 21 EMA, top of the box, something like that, before continuing down to the downside. But just be aware, be cautious. Don't go thinking that this is a guaranteed sign of reversal and recovery, because it is not. In order to see something like that taking shape, we would really need to take out this high up here, because this was the next lower high. And there's a ways to go there to do that. And I don't know that the market right now in the current climate really has the strength for that. I think there's probably just still a little bit too much fear, a little bit too much uncertainty and nervousness in the market. On the shorter term time frame, right now we are in an uptrend. On the short term, we are riding basically this uptrending trend line. So watch for that. If we do come down, beware. If we break the bottom of the box, for example, the trend line is right below it. So we're going to need to see some strength to head down and break that line. So just be aware, trade accordingly. If you decide to go short, for example, at the bottom of the box, at a break of the box or something like that, just be aware that we might very well get a bounce up from here. So have good stops and trade sensibly. But there's a lot going on right now. We're right in the middle of these sort of critical key areas. We need to take out this low down here to really go lower. We need to take out this high up here to really go higher. But there's a lot of distance between those two. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. I'm going to be watching for either strength to likely get to the 61.8, at which point I am looking for a move to the downside somewhere in that area, or I'm looking for weakness right here at the 50% and start heading lower. And if that happens, then I'll be looking for something to the short side and just see what the market will set up for me. All right, that is, I think, going to cover us on the ES. Let's go take a look at crude oil, which is just continuing to play out this bounce off the buy zone down below. Right now, it is squarely between the daily box and right in the middle. And on a shorter term, it is in an uptrend. We're riding this this trend line here, and we did break the downtrend line, and right now have managed to hold above it. So at the moment, anyway, it looks like there could be room for further upside in this little bounce here. We've also got a divergent navigator going on, with the navigator making higher lows while price made lower lows. So those are potentially bullish signs as well. That is on a daily basis, though. Intraday, of course, you've got lots of possible moves. I mean, you had stuff like this move here, nice strong move, and there's plenty of opportunity to be had intraday if you trade this market that way. But just note that you've got a buy zone down here. So be aware of that. If price does come down, watch for a test of that zone before you do anything, and see if it holds and bounces up, or if it can break down and go lower. And if it does, there is another buy zone just below it from a little further back in time. So right now, though, crude making lower lows and lower highs. So technically still in a downtrend. Right now, we just have a normal retracement, a normal bounce in a downtrend. So keep that in mind. We got to get over this descending trend line if there's going to be any real chance of a true break to the upside. And then, of course, ultimately, we really need to see about taking out these levels here, these lower highs. So that's what you should be watching for in crude in the big picture. Small picture, as always, there's just opportunity. You've got this level here. Take that out. Probably want to be looking to test that level there, and just marching right on up the line. But just be aware that there is this trend line here, this rising trend line right now. Anyway, a pullback to that holds is a good opportunity to potentially get long. So watch for that to happen. So right now, the box, let me zoom. Whoops, I can't zoom in. Let me zoom in now. Right now, with the box, we are, again, squarely in the box on the smaller time frame as well. Been trying to kind of break higher. Hasn't really been able to do a whole lot. Just kind of been meandering around. Every time it gets above the box, it's pushed back down, above, pushed back down. Got above here, pushed back down, above here, pushed back down. So the sellers are definitely not giving up easy on this, and we really need to see prolonged strength. For example, that can get up over that level. So close above the box and hold it and continue to march higher. But ideally, I would love to see a pullback to this trend line or somewhere in that vicinity, and then turn around and bounce higher, just to show that this trend line is in fact intact and acting as support. So that's crude. Let's take a look at gold. The gold market, not surprisingly, has been marching higher lately with all the uncertainty and fear that's been going on in the sell-offs in the broader market. And gold is the logical choice to want to march higher. But as much as people like to think that gold is this perfect hedge against the broader markets, that it's always inverse correlated, it's not necessarily inverse correlated at all. Sometimes it is, but quite often it moves with the market. So when the market tanks, gold tanks as well. So just be careful of assuming gold is going to go counter to the broader markets. Right now, though, it's in a breakout. It broke out of this channel. The 21 EMA is definitely up and rising, no question about it. It's, after this big down, it leveled off and then has come up. So we are in an uptrend. We're making higher highs and higher lows. We've got a ways to go though. Right now, let me just throw a or a horizontal line here. This line right about there. Whoops, I've got snap mode turned on. All right, let me put that there. So that high right there is right where we are right now. Poked just above it and came back down. So right now it needs to show an ability to really get over this level and hold in order to be able to march higher. And it can march higher. There's some distance to cover. There's just really nothing in here. It's just kind of wide open space, and then look to take out that high there. So that is kind of what I'll be keeping an eye on. In fact, oops, come on. This, for some reason, got accidentally in the wrong place. It should be right about there. Close enough. So, if gold can hop over this line and hold it and look to march higher, then I'd be looking for a possible test of this level here, up around 1330 or thereabouts. Of course, if the market is strong and or gold decides to sell off a bit and come back down into this channel, then we need to just see what happens at the test of the 21 EMA, see if that continues to hold as support. Right now, the Navigator on a daily, we are showing one histogram bar of magenta. So we're getting into slightly exhausted territory. I would not be at all surprised to see gold kind of pull back from here, maybe test this rising trend line as support, and then possibly, if that holds, march higher from there. On a shorter term time frame, again, we are clearly in an uptrend right now. The uptrend has gotten steeper since the last time I drew this line, but it has pulled away from there, broke through this sell zone overhead, and right now is in a fairly sharp drop all of a sudden for this 160-minute candle. But it's trying to hold at the 21 EMA. You can see it broke down past it and then bounced right back up to it, and is still in the process of kind of finishing that bounce. In the next 2 minutes, this candle will close. So it looks like the 21 EMA is holding as support. So keep an eye on that as a good support level. And of course, there's also a buy zone down below to watch out for as well. So if gold actually does break the 21 EMA and does break the bottom of the box, then we'd be looking at this buy zone here as a likely place to test. Navigator is showing plenty of strength right now. It is coming back strong. We're getting higher highs and well, actually, it's a pretty much the same high. I wouldn't call it divergent by any means, but the Navigator is not showing additional strength with this higher high. But I mean, it's not a massively significant higher high either. It's just a slight bit higher. So I'm not especially worried about that. But we are at 22.5. We're about halfway into overbought territory. So there's some room to go, but I would like to see gold pull back a little bit. Would love to see it maybe test this buy zone. Something like that would be ideal, and then be able to march higher from here. But that's what I'll be looking at in the gold market. Levels wise, really want to see it either get over this level here or pull back, test this rising trend line as support, hold, and then march higher. Otherwise, if it breaks down into this channel, then it's back in the channel again, and it might just channel around for a while once more. Let's take a quick peek at natural gas, which has had a fairly good gap down here. Just kind of, it did come back to fill this gap and then just kind of fell apart here and gapped to the downside. And the Navigator is growing in strength to the downside, only at -14 right now, so nowhere near oversold yet. Got plenty of room to go. Definitely below the 21 EMA, which is certainly turned down. We have also gotten below these lows here. So be really cautious here. Now, maybe this morning, maybe this gap fills. Maybe the market just trades right up to fill that gap. And then who knows what? It could just roll over and go to test the next set of lows down here maybe. Or perhaps it finds some strength. If it can close this gap and march higher, then maybe we see some strength to the upside. But don't be fooled. We're in a downtrend here. There's no question about it. The 21 EMA is pointing down. We're making lower lows and lower highs. So be prepared to trade with the bears. Ideally, you really want to be looking to the short side. That isn't to say that if a beautiful long side trade presents itself, you wouldn't take it. Sure, a trade's a trade. Right now, on the shorter term time frame, we've got significant amount of exhaustion showing on the navigator. Zoom in. Whoops. Go away. So a lot of exhaustion showing here on the navigator. So right now, it's also trapped between these two zones here, buy zones and sell zone. The buy zone and sell zone here, it's just sandwiched right in between them, gapped right down in between both of those levels. So it's certainly, after this kind of exhaustion and at negative 45 reading on the navigator, we're definitely oversold. I would not be surprised to see a bounce from here, at least maybe through this sell zone, test the top of it maybe, which also happens to be where the 21 EMA is, and then possibly roll over, maybe go sideways for a little bit longer first, just to work off some more of this oversold condition. But right now, definitely things are bearish. If we see strength, though, there is this gap to fill. So there's the potential, if you are risk tolerant enough to do it, to take a short-term trade that is counter trend, there is the potential for filling that gap. But gaps don't always fill out of the gate. It could fill, I mean, well, you can see how long it took here. I mean, we had this gap here, and it didn't fill until basically right now. So, or actually, what am I saying? That's the new gaps, right? It filled, just a few days ago. So it took a while, and all of this had to happen first. So, gaps don't just immediately fill. So this particular gap here might fill in a week or two. It might fill today. Who knows? We'll have to just wait and see what happens today. But just be aware, the trend is down. We're lower lows, lower highs. So watch for tests of the lower levels. Watch for taking out of these lows below. And when that happens, definitely want to be on the right side of that. All right, one final thing to look at will be crypto, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is managing to hold up right now, but also not really doing anything. It's kind of just stuck in the middle here. It really needs to either take out this high or take out this low to give us something decisive. We do have a nice buy zone here that was formed, so that could be support. The 21 EMA has also been kind of a magnet for price lately. Price has just been oscillating around it right now, kind of holding at it. On the shorter term time frame, we've got this rising trend line, which acted as support there. And also, I mean, the price wasn't even able to really get down to it here. And then price again here got to it and then bounced off of it. So that seems to be holding a support right now. But we need to see some strength really come in. Navigator is getting close to that zero line. It's trying to get up to it. So if we can see a cross of the zero line there on the daily, that could be significant. But also don't overreact, because as we've seen before, we can get crosses of the zero line that give us a short little up pop, but it doesn't really amount to anything. And even sometimes when we've seen much larger pushes above the zero line, again, all we get is a slightly larger pop and then down. So crypto is definitely still in a bear market. There's no two ways about that. We're still lower lows and lower highs. But right now, we've made a lower low and technically a lower high, but just barely. But we have not made another lower low yet. So that's what we need to watch for. For continued downside, we've got to see a takeout of this low here. And if that can happen, then we've definitely got the potential to head considerably lower. Do I have that level drawn? I don't remember if I do. No, I don't have it drawn. As I recall, going back far enough. Oh, yeah, that's right. I don't have the data in TradeStation, but if you go into something like TradingView, I seem to recall it was like, I don't remember, 2,600, I think, or something like that. Somewhere in the 2000s, mid 2000s, there was another buy zone, another support area in that range. So if that level is taken out, if these lows here are taken out, then that is what I would be looking for. The next level to test would be that buy zone, wherever exactly it is. So crypto bear market not over yet, but if this can establish itself as the higher low and we can take out that high and set a higher high, then we might see something starting to turn around for crypto. We might be starting to get some bullishness coming back in. And maybe with the year ending and all of the tax loss harvesting that's been going on potentially in the crypto space, and people closing their shorts to get them booked for the year, et cetera. Who knows? There's good potential for things to hold up going into the new year. But bottom line is the technicals. That's what we got to watch for. So it's either got to break this high to the upside or break this low to the downside. That's what we're watching for. All right, that's it for me. 24 minutes to the opening bell. I'm going to get ready for my trading day. I hope you are as well. And as always, again, reminder, please do like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think of these videos and what we can do to be more helpful and will be even more useful for you. I was not able to get the YouTube live chat up this morning, just the Discord. So if you happen to be here live in YouTube, well, hello. Sorry that I missed your live chat, but you can pick it up with me, hopefully in the Discord room if you're over there. All right, that's it. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope everybody has a very enjoyable and safe New Year's Eve. Myself, I don't really go out and do anything for this kind of holiday. I just like to stay home and be quiet with my family. So that is what I will be doing. I'm looking forward to a good trading day ahead and a good trading year ahead. Again, Happy New Year, everybody, and talk again in 2019. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.